And welcome back, everyone. Well, my last video about English slabs did fairly well, and it looks like you guys might be looking for some more. Well, I got 8 more cards for you. They're going to be PSA 10s, and the budget's going to be, honestly, it's going to be like under $110. English slabs get pretty pricey, and for the population it doesn't make any sense. But regardless, I'm not an English slab collector. You guys might be, so I got some deals for you. So just like last video, I'm going to start with the lowest value and going up. So hopefully you guys enjoy. So for the first card that we got today, we got a 2019 Lycanroc GX from Hidden Fates. So for this card, there's around 2,681 cards in rotation or in population, right? 1,600 of them being PSA 10s, 960 being PSA 9s, and then around 110 being PSA 8s. If you have this card and you send it to submit it, you send it to PSA, submit it to get it back graded, you have a 59% chance it might come back as a 10. So fairly, a little bit more than half, not fantastic, but pretty decent overall. However, you can go to the PSA vault and you can go ahead and grab this card for $45, and that makes it a pretty good deal. So we're starting off the list fairly strong with a pretty cheap card. The second card that we got another older card from the Sword and Shield era. We got a 2022 Machamp VMAX from Astral Radiance, right? This one's going to be the Rainbow Gigantamax form. So this card is a little bit lower in population, which I like. There's around 590 cards in rotation. For PSA 10s, right? There's around 430. For 9s, there's around 110 cards. And then for PSA 8, there's around 40 cards, right? If you have this card, send it to submit it. You send it to get it submitted. I don't know why I'm struggling today with that. I apologize. There's around a 73% chance that you might get it back as a 10. So the odds are even better for you. If you want to bypass that, you can go ahead and grab this card of the vault for $50. Overall, still pretty decent deal. Kind of better than what we were talking about the previous under 80. But overall, not a bad card for a Sword and Shield era card. Okay, so now getting to the more expensive cards. And honestly, I'm surprised this one's kind of here because it's an SIR. But anyways, we got a 2023 Chien-Pao EX from Paldea Evolve. Alright, like I said, it's an SIR card. And it just makes sense because all these new Pokemons are not very popular at the moment. Regardless, let's talk about the population. So for the population of this card, there's around 2,850 cards that were graded in rotation, right? So for PSA 10, there's around 1,560. For PSA 9, there's 1,170. And lastly, for PSA 8, there's around 120 cards. If you send it, get it graded, there is a 54% chance it might come back as a 10. So in the vault right now, the buy price for this card is going to be $83, but there is a best offer. So you can submit them an offer trying to get it less than 83, maybe 75. Plus on top of that, there's a $5 coupon. So you can get an SIR card for around $75. I mean, honestly, I think that's a fantastic deal if you're like an English collector. All right, continuing the trend with another SIR card, all right, from the same set. So we are talking about 2023 Wo-chien EX from Paldea Evolve. For this card, there's around 1,360 cards in rotation that were graded. For PSA 10, there's around 730. PSA 9, 560. And PSA 8, there's around 70 cards. Right? If you send it to get it graded, there's a 53% chance that it might come back as a 10. Now for this card, the buyer price is going to be $85. There's a $5 coupon at the moment, so you can get an SIR card for $80. Not bad. Honestly, it's not bad considering that that's the same amount of money that some of these promo cards go for, but you can get an SIR. I think actually that's a pretty fantastic deal. So for the next card, this one. So we got a 2025 Eevee promo from the prismatic ETB. Now, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of prismatic going around, but clearly I was wrong, or I've been wrong. You know, I never got to rip it, and honestly, even if I did, I don't think I would be ripping it. But there's around 14,800 copies of this card that have already been graded, right? That's insane. Now let's talk about the population of the grades. So for a PSA 10, there's around 660 copies. Sorry, 6,600 copies. For a PSA 9, there is 7,200 copies. And for a PSA 8, there is around 1,000 copies. If you have an ETB, you open it up and you send it to get graded, there's a 44% chance that it might come back as a 10. Now, you can buy this card off the vault for $90. And honestly, I don't know why you would. I would just still keep on waiting for this card to fall because the population for this card is insane. I think it might be like the highest populated card that from today's list. But that's just my personal opinion. And sorry, I don't like the prismatic hype. Okay, so for the next card, for the next card, it's probably going to be my favorite card out of the list. I just think it looks pretty dope, honestly, but that's just me. We got a 2024 Durant EX from Surgeon Sparks. All right, this is going to be an SIR, and honestly, it just looks derpy, but I like it for that reason. I like interesting art. So let's go ahead and talk about the population. Overall population, there's around 1,480 cards that have been graded. Out of those, for PSA 10, 550 came back as a 10. For a 9, there's around 790. And then for a PSA 8, there's around 130 cards, right? So you can buy this card off the vault for $99. They do have a best offer available, so you can submit them an offer plus a $5 coupon. So you can get a Surgeon Sparks SIR for around, I want to say you can probably push it around mid-80s. And that's honestly a pretty good deal for an SIR. I don't know why people, they're just slipping on these, but like these SIRs are more rarer than regular illustration cards. But hey, to each their own, right? I like these cards a little bit more. Regardless, I think this is a fantastic deal and fantastic art. The next two cards have great art too, but for me personally, this one stands out a little bit more. I like this one. For the 7th card on the list, we got a promo card. We got a 2024 Kingambit from Shrouded Fable. All right, one of the promo cards. In rotation or being graded, there's around 1,430 copies. PSA 9 has PSA 9, I apologize. There's around 660 copies for a PSA 10, 640 copies for a PSA 9, and then 120 copies for a PSA 8. If you have this bundle, grab that card and you send it to get it graded, there's a 46% chance that it might come back as a 10. For this card, the base price is $100. And honestly, it's a promo card. Like honestly, if I were to collect English card, I would try to focus on promos and SIRs, but that's just my opinion. That's what I would want to do. Overall, Kingambit is a pretty good design, pretty sweet Pokemon. I'm so happy that what was that Pokemon before that got an evolution for it to be Kingambit? Bisharp, you know. So overall, fantastic art. I do like the art on this one. $100. I wouldn't say it's a steal, but it's a fairly good. We got another promo card from the same set. We are talking about a 2024 Kingdra EX from Shrouded Fable. Now, this card has been heavily graded. I think this was the second heaviest card that was graded population-wise. And let's get to it. So for this card, there is around 12,900 cards that was graded. Out of those 12,000, 8,140 cards came back as a 10. On a 9, 4,390. As an 8, 430. if you have this card and you send it to get graded, there is a 62% chance that it might come back as a 10. Now, for this price or this card, you can buy it off the vault for $109. There's a little coupon, so maybe you'll probably get it for $105. But $100 for a card that has around 12,000 PSA graded copies. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but the population on this card is way too high to justify that price, even if it's a 10, because there's 8,000 copies for a 10 for it to be $100. And yeah, Kingdra is an OG Pokemon, not one of the OGs, right? But it's pretty old, it's pretty high up there. But $110 for this card? Nah, that's a pass. But regardless, people like promo cards. That's why I included it on this list. But I mean, if I were you guys and I collected English, I would personally focus on the SIRs, mostly on like the Chien-Pao and on the, what was the other one? On the Wo-chien. Well, there you go. There's 8 cards that you can go ahead and buy right now off the PSA vault. For the most part, I did my best to kind of give them like give you guys promo cards, SIRs, and try to keep them as cheap as possible. But once you start talking about $110 for being one of the cheaper price, yeah, collecting in English is pretty expensive. Overall, some of these cards are promos, some of these cards are SIRs. The population varies so much, but I mean, the decision's up to you guys, right? Like I always say before, collect what you want to collect, and if these prices seem fair to you, then I would recommend go to the description, look for the link, and try and buy them before someone else does. I mean, but outside from that, have a fantastic day, and all right, peace, love, and positivity, all that good stuff. And just remember, I love you. Bye-bye.